Most of the other rockets landed in open spaces. Now, it's clear that multiple Palestinian organizations operating within Gaza are claiming responsibility for this, but as far as the Israelis are concerned, they are holding Hamas responsible for it, and they say Hamas, quote, will pay a heavy price, and we've already seen that. As you mentioned, there have been some airstrikes by the Israeli Air Force in northern Gaza over the past hour or so. We know that 9 civilians, according to the Gazan authorities, have been killed. 3 of those people are children. I asked the Israeli defense spokesperson about that. He said that they are looking into reports of children having been killed. It's too early to confirm or deny. He did say that there is a possibility that Hamas rockets fell short, they misfired, and that this might have been what he described as an internal event, but he said it was too early to say, and he said that they do all they can to avoid civilian casualties. As we've heard many times before, the Israelis say that Hamas hides its rockets in civilian areas, in civilian buildings, and so the Israelis will claim that they can't avoid civilian targets all the time. I should tell you also, Mark, that Hamas had said this afternoon that if by 6 p.m. this evening, which was 2 hours ago, the Israelis did not do 3 things: release all Palestinians detained today, remove the Israeli police from the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and remove Jewish settlers from the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood of Jerusalem. If those 3 things didn't happen, so said Hamas, then they would retaliate, and so they did at 6 o'clock. We heard the air raid sirens here in Jerusalem. Not since 2014 have we heard that. And then moments later, we heard 3 loud blasts, or several loud blasts, as those rockets impacted to the west of here. Now, Hamas has said in the last hour that they've given them, the Israelis, a new ultimatum. In an hour's time, they will retaliate again if those 3 demands by Hamas are not met. So we may well see more rockets from Gaza launched at Israel. In summary, Mark, a very difficult day began here in Jerusalem, contained within the old city, hundreds of Palestinians injured as a consequence. A day has ended with a clear step change in a very, very volatile region.
And Mark, we know how these things can...
Right, well, it's interesting there how... hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth, I should say first. It's interesting how... I will get onto it, but just interesting how he defended Israel, like they do with America as well, with the use of collateral damage, that it's okay to kill unarmed people by they... I mean, maybe it is accurate that maybe some terrorists operate within their family surroundings. I know there are reports of that, but still, without any actual evidence, why would you offer an exclamation about collateral damage when you don't really know whether it is collateral damage or not, you know? So, but that's always what happens when you're talking about a friendly state. You'll always defend them. But what's interesting to me on all of this is the argument that I make all the time. It's just interesting how Israel, Palestine, I know there's a lot of history with it, but if you actually look at it, if you were an alien that flew, or God even, looking down, you see some human beings and another human beings that have their different beliefs attacking each other, whereas they're attacking themselves. They're all human beings. You're killing other people on what basis? Now, of course, that Palestine and Israel would argue to do with religion, to do with God, or to do with land. But does God really want everyone to be fighting each other over land, over their beliefs? Anyway, let's not get into that. But the fact is, when you look at it, a Palestinian and an Israeli person, a man, a woman, a child, they're all human beings. They all have the same feelings. They also have the same pain. You're killing other human beings, your other brothers and sisters. Now, it's not just them. I'm not trying to pick on Israel and Palestine. It happens in India, it happens in England and Ireland, it happens in lots of different places, whether it's black, whether it's white, whether it's Asian and white, or black and Asian, or whatever different divisions that we put ourselves in. Because of the divisions, it means we can fight each other, because we can look down upon one another, or we can say this one's not as important. It's like the idea of, like, how easy it is for Israel to just, Israel, who pertains to be a proper state, friends of America and the UK, so easily for them to just fly planes and drop bombs on people. I mean, maybe here, I suppose the same thing happened during the IRA issues, but it just seems so easily just to, I can't imagine, like, if, say, it was a problem between England and Scotland, and, there were some Scottish terrorists that came over, or maybe let's put it the other way, English terrorists that came over to Scotland and attack them. Would Scotland just get their jets and then drop bombs on England? I don't think it would happen that way. There'd be diplomacy and all that kind of thing, because we know we look so similar. It's very it's like, you see this. When it comes to Europe and America, they find it very difficult to kill each other, unless it's like blue on blue. But when it comes to going to the Middle East or other places where they don't look the same as you, it's very easy for them to have wars and all those kinds of things, and to do regime change, and to do operations of assassinations, as history has shown. So it's just interesting that Israel and Palestine, when they look so similar, it's so easy for them to kill each other. And the fact is that they, especially like Israel and Palestine, there's so much religion involved in there. Both believing in Jesus, both believing in peace. And yet, why are they killing each other? For what? For land? For bits of space that they're not... They're going to defend a bit of space that they're going to be on for 100 years if they're lucky. Most people won't live to 80. They're going to defend land for 80 years of their life. It doesn't matter who owns it, because you don't own it, because the next person has it, and then the next person. 1,000 years ago a person had it. So I don't understand, what's the point of fighting over land when it's all given to us by God? If you believe in God, if you believe in Allah, or if you believe in Jehovah or whatever, Jesus, the same entity it's meant to be, God, the Greek name for him, he has given it to every one of us. Why are we squabbling over it, fighting over it? And if there is no God, if these things don't exist, imagine how stupid it looks then, even more so, that you're fighting over something that's not even, you can't even defend, or isn't even true. For what? You're fighting over land. And most of these people who are fighting, the soldiers, they're being told what to do, like lambs going to the slaughter, because they're following their sergeants, their soldiers, their government. And they're going around killing people, and the blood is on their hand, so their sergeants and government people can sit, with clean hands. And probably their motives aren't so clean. But that's what happens with all soldiers. The soldiers, the people who go and do the dirty work, that probably in their mind, they wouldn't want to do it. I suppose a lot of soldiers are people who want to be criminal, want to kill people, who enjoy the idea of killing people, or at least they can live with the idea of killing another human being. And from a Muslim perspective, obviously I know more about that, in the Quran it says about killing one human being is like killing all human beings. So how can anyone on the Gaza side, on the idea of Hamas and whatever, who claim to be religious, who claim to be doing it for Islam, how can they even go around killing people? And I know they will say it's jihad and this, that and the other, but it doesn't really work when you see how God is meant to be, how we are meant to be living with each other, enjoying the land that has been given, the freedom that we've been given to do good. How much more we could do rather than fighting. Look at Israel and Palestine now, Jerusalem. Look at it. It's like a bomb site. By the end of it, one side will eventually all die or give up, and the other side will have this holy land, and there'll be nothing left of it. How stupid that would be. I mean, that just shows how stupid human beings can be sometimes. And it's not really because of faith. Yeah, I think faith sometimes can bring the stupidity out of people, but it's not really. It's because people are stupid. You can interpret faith in many different ways. If you want to find a verse that can allow you to go and kill a person, you can find it. If you want a verse that can show you that you should give a person compassion, you can find it. And those people, they have, just like all of us, a confirmation bias. They'll look for what they want to find, and then they will spout that out and then fuel that. And then we end up with people killing each other, killing children. and people living in poverty like they do in Palestine, in cages, with the walls around them, against international law, and yet they're friends with America. I mean, I'm not trying to come down on one side or the other. I'm sure there's lots of things, obviously what the other side does has involved in terrorism. But what the truth is, what I'm trying to say of all this fighting between each other, is we're actually all the same, we're all human beings. So why are we doing this? What does it serve? What purpose? But then the thing is, if I was to ask one of these people who was a soldier, a terrorist, and ask them, they probably wouldn't care about my arguments, they'd probably just kill me. Because they don't want to believe in the idea that people can just live with each other, because their beliefs are so strong that it's gone past their humanity. Anyway, that's enough of my waffling. Sorry, my voice is going. Take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.